There are going to be all kinds of mistakes in our life. Things that we do that we should not have done. Things that we say that we should not have said. Things that we earned that we should not have earned. Wrong that we did to ourselves, wrong we did to somebody else, wrong we did before Allah Azza wa Jal. There are things we should have done and we refused to do them, or we failed to do them. There are things we should not have done and we did them anyway. And you know best your own story. That's not for anyone else to know. Allah Azza wa Jal knows, and the angels that are recording know. But you know what? Every time you and I make a mistake, we have an option. Iblis comes to you and me and says, listen, I know you made a mistake, but come on, you were under a lot of pressure. It's understandable. It's logical. I mean, what choice did you have? It's okay. Allah understands. Don't worry about it. Don't feel so bad about it. Human beings are very good at making excuses, and where do the excuses come from? Iblis. Because there's one thing Iblis does not want. He does not want you to say with your heart, Astaghfirullah. Because when Adam alayhi salam was sent to the earth, Allah told him, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَنْ تَبِعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Now that I'm sending you to the earth, you will need guidance. You will need guidance. And whoever follows my guidance, they won't have to worry, they won't have fear, they won't have sadness. The first guidance Allah sent to this earth, Allah says, فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ. Allah gave Adam alayhi salam words by means of which he turned back to Allah asking for his forgiveness. Asking for Allah's forgiveness was the first guidance given to humanity. That was guidance number one. Before any other teaching, before anything Allah taught us about halal and haram, before anything Allah taught us about remembering Allah in different ways, before anything Allah taught us about the gratitude of Allah and the perfection of Allah, the first thing Allah taught humanity was seek Allah's forgiveness. And you know what? That's how the story of humanity started, by seeking Allah's forgiveness. Where does the story of humanity end? On Judgment Day, isn't it? And on Judgment Day, believers are trying to make their way towards Jannah. And they haven't made it to Jannah yet. They haven't made it yet. Some people had a lot of faith, so they have a lot of light coming out of their chest and their right hand. And some people have a little bit of faith, so they have a little bit of light coming out of their chest and their right hand. And if you have a lot of light, you know where to go. If you have a little bit of light, you can only take one step at a time. And people are inching towards Jannah, trying to make it to Jannah. And what do they say? This is the last dua human beings will ever make. Master, please complete our light. Let this light, this battery not run out until we make it to the gates of Jannah. And forgive us. Forgive us. The first guidance, the first dua was what? Forgiveness. And the last dua for all humanity is what? Forgive us. The guidance of Allah begins and ends with seeking forgiveness. And seeking, this astaghfirullah is not something small. It's not a small reason that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked istighfar of Allah 100 times. Why is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking for Allah's forgiveness? We know that prophets are free of sin. And on top of that, Allah describes him, as I told you before, as a brilliant sun, flawless. Allah Azza wa Jal will give us the reasons for which istighfar isn't just about doing a sin. Istighfar is about not doing enough. Istighfar is also about not doing enough. No human being should ever feel about themselves that they have done enough for Allah. They have always fallen short. For what Allah gave them, they can never give back. And so they ask Allah's forgiveness for their own shortcomings. You know, Ibrahim alayhi salam built the Kaaba. After all those tests, and when he was building the Kaaba, he said, وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا, please accept our tawbah. Please forgive us. Why is he asking for forgiveness? Because as I'm putting one brick of the Kaaba on top of the other, I pray that this is good enough. I pray my salah is good enough. I pray my dua is good enough. Because my dua may not be perfect. My salah may not be perfect. My qira'ah of Quran may not be perfect. Even when we do good deeds, those good deeds, are they perfect? No. And so because they're not perfect, what will complete, there's a gap. And that gap can only be filled by what words? Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Our ibadah will always be incomplete without istighfar to Allah Azza wa Jalla.